fur coat and no knickers. I've worked for companies that have been fur coat and no knickers. That is, they've had some of the most impressive showrooms, some of the most glossy catalogues, some of the nicest cars, I guess. But once you scratch the surface of the company, they're basically pants. Their management style is micromanaging, 100% controlling. It's not at all an atmosphere that you want to be in. So that's one of the major driving forces for me working on my own and setting up this little business. Not only is it bringing together some of my experience in sales, but it's a reaction against the fur coat and no knickers companies where there's nothing to them, horrible places to work, and you couldn't pay me enough money to go back into that sort of corporate world. So that led me to the position when I worked for these companies. I could see all the flashiness, I could see the money being spent on clients, but in the background there was nothing there. The products were rubbish. The products were good, but they weren't suitable for the UK market. So let's get that right. So the products they had were well manufactured, high quality products, but they were completely unsuitable for the UK market, and particularly unsuitable for the education market, which was my speciality. So I'm now in an environment where I control everything to do with this company. And one of the aspects that I look at is that I would rather people focus on the content, not on the environment, because let's face it, it's a computer camera and it's a black background with, that's in my 4x4 truck, which I'm currently trying to travel around the world in. So it's not the most comfortable location, but that doesn't detract from what I've got in here and the experience that I've got. So hopefully you've got the ability to look a little bit deeper than the hoodie, than the black background, than the lack of fancy office, that the lack of London EC1 address or whatever's supposed to be the plush place. This is me coming to you, talking from my heart, that my belief is that you can get the job that you want. You can pass the interviews, doesn't matter how difficult it is or where it is, with the right level of guidance, with the right level of support, and that's where I come in. And I just get so much of a buzz watching people get their jobs. I've watched Jean-Michel. We spend months together working on language and working on his interviews. He was very, very detailed about the work he went into. After months of applying and with several rejections for certain jobs, he's now doing his dream job, which, strangely enough, is demining countries. Again, completely selfless, going into danger areas and clearing up the mines. We've got Alban, who's a commercial airline pilot, something that he'd wanted to do from a very, very young age. And we worked together for a few weeks. He came back and said that the time together gave him the confidence to work well in the interview, and he got the job. Akib, NHS worker, who's now a police officer, given having spent 6 weeks, I think, with me, and we worked on building his confidence, finding a good story. Currently, I'm in the process of waiting to see whether another candidate, Jose, whether he's got the job. We went through looking at the job, the mission statements of the company, and he came back with a different attitude of maybe this company isn't all it's cracked up to be, because the mission statement of the company said one thing, and the outcome of the interview was he felt that it wasn't quite the same. So he's now in a position to say, even if he's offered the job, does he really want it? And that's one of the things we'll look at, is that if you're in a position where you've got a luxury that you don't have to take the job, you're already in a job currently, then that's a very, very different dynamic, and you can work with the interview in a very different way. And yeah, that's an absolute luxury. We can work with the interview to see what are going to be your best responses, and depending on the circumstances. So if you're desperate for a job, then yes, we're not going to go with the same level of confidence, overconfidence, stroke arrogance, call it arrogance if you want. If it's in a positive way, then I don't have any problem with that. So if you go with this level of not really caring so much, that's the wrong thing to say. You do care about the job because it's a job that you do want, but if something goes wrong, you're quite happy to walk away. You're not under the same level of pressure as someone who's desperate, someone who's been out of work for 6, 8, 9 months, and I've been in that position. I know what it's like. But you don't have to compromise yourself. You can still work and do the right things to ensure that you get the job that you want. So the bottom line is what I'm looking at is saying that forget the camera, forget the backdrop, forget the hoodie. It's not about what I'm wearing, where I'm sitting. It's about what I say. It's about giving you the information that's going to get you the job that you need. And there's a lot of bullshit out there, and some of you might think that I'm talking bullshit. I know that one or two people don't understand exactly what I say and are quite happy to misinterpret. Fine, I don't care. What I want is people who are happy to work with me, who want to go that extra step, who are prepared to put the work in, to listen to what I say, to have discussions, to agree or disagree with me in the moment. That's absolutely fine. Where my job is to get the best out of you, and if you think that my ideas aren't the best suited for you, we can work with what you think is the right thing, and at the end of the day, give you the confidence to walk into any job interview with a level of comfort that you can start to enjoy the job interview, that you're not going to be anxious, that you're not going to be worried about it. So hopefully that means that I'm fur coat and fur knickers. I don't know. What would be the opposite of that? Fur coat and fur. I really don't know, but possibly actually looking at it, it's sock cloth coat and fur knickers. That would be the analogy. That the coat is pretty crap, but the content that I'm providing is hopefully something that resonates, something that makes you feel good. If it does, then please click the link below. Feel free to get in contact. Any questions that you have, I'm more than happy to answer. Leave a comment. And if you're looking for a coach, if you're looking for someone to join you on the journey and give you that push, make you feel more comfortable for the interview, speak soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.